Good morning, everyone. It is Thursday, which means it's my favorite day of the week because I get to hang out with you guys. But also, y'all, it is October 2nd, which means it is finally Q4, my favorite time of the year. It is the biggest time of year for my business, specifically because I actually help people like you who are running e-commerce businesses. So since e-commerce is usually the biggest, or Q4 is usually the biggest time for e-commerce, that also means that it's the biggest time for my business as well. So I'm super, super excited to have each and every one of you here to get us amped and get us excited and get us feeling empowered for the hopefully super big months ahead. If you guys are ready for Q4, just drop Q4 in the live chat for me. If you guys are feeling a little anxious about Q4, you can also let us know in the live chat. That is what this kind of discussion is and this conversation that we have live together each week. So with that said, what we're going to do today, I see people, Jessica said, Q4 ready. Yay, I love it. So I have one thing that we are going to do today, actually kind of two things. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to share my screen really quick. I'm just going to let you guys know exactly how today is going to work. Good. Laser Etching said they are ready for Q4 as well. So as it works for today, what we are going to be doing is a kind of live Q&A / question and answer period from things that have already taken place. So bear with me. What I mean by that is there are 10 questions that were pretty significant and I think can help everyone on this live stream today that came in either through our YouTube or through our private Facebook group, which we have just our EverBee community members in there. So I'm actually going to go question by question and answer them live for you guys so that it's not just like, hey, I'm answering this one person, but I'm actually giving the answers to all of you as well. And then what I'm going to do is everybody who is here on the live stream with me today will also have the opportunity to drop any additional questions into the live chat. And what I'm going to do is once we finish up those 10, let's say, I don't know, it takes 20 minutes or so, 30 minutes. I have no idea. Y'all know I like to talk. So we'll see how long it goes. But once I finish those first initial 10, we're going to go ahead and jump into the live chat. And I'm literally just going to go question by question for you guys, as long as it is applicable to Etsy, e-commerce, EverBee store, Q4 marketing, so on and so forth. So keep that in mind as we are going through. Feel free to drop any questions, any comments, anything that you would like us to be getting into on this call today. And we're going to do that at the end. And again, like I said, that could be 20 minutes in or so, or that could be 40 minutes in, but hopefully it'll be really quick for you guys so I can get down to your actual individual questions as well. So feel free, like I mentioned, pop them in the live chat. Two more things I want to mention real fast is we have next week, we have a live stream just like we always do, but it's going to be at a different date and time. And the reason why is because we actually are going to be doing it with one of our brand new partners. And I'm super, super excited to chat with them. It's actually going to be flipped where I'm usually the one interviewing, but this time around, they're going to be kind of like interviewing EverBee and getting to know us a little bit more to introduce us to their community. So I'm really excited about it. It's going to happen next Friday instead of next Thursday. I am not 100% sure on the time yet, but what I'm going to do is let you guys know in the Facebook group. And then we're also going to schedule a notification in the YouTube channel. So if you are not following the Facebook group already, I highly recommend, I will tell you really quick. Let me just pull it up. I will tell you what the name is if you're not in there already. Just give me one quick sec. I have to log into my own Facebook. Okay, so it's called EverBee Creators - Building Businesses Together. So if you're not already in EverBee Creators - Building Businesses Together Facebook, I highly recommend you jump into it because I'm going to let you guys know through a notification in there as well when we are going live next week with our new partner. And I will also be letting the people know that are inside that Facebook group know who the new partner is before anybody else does. So if you guys are interested, please jump into that. And the last thing I really wanted to let you guys know is it's kind of dumb, but last week I got a comment. I think it might have been 2 weeks ago. I think it was 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks or last week ago, I got a comment that said that it was in the live chat that I had my background blurred because I had a lot of stuff behind me. And someone was like, I can't with this. I can't watch her because my background was blurred. And I guess it was disturbing the piece. So I am not blurring my background today, but I want to show you guys just so we can all be on the same page as to why I blurred my background and how crazy my life is. And I thought that you guys would get a kick out of this because my husband did when I was out of town for a week and he had to deal with all of this. So I'm just going to move my camera and get really vulnerable with you guys. This is my life right now. Look at this. It's literally so, there's so many packages. There's so much stuff in front of me right now. Sorry, we're a little bit too high now. One sec. There we go. Hopefully that's better. So that's why my background was blurred. And that's why you guys are a little bit higher up now. Someone said it was making them nauseous. So I do apologize. And hopefully that little tour I just took you guys on didn't make you even more nauseous. But we are back. We are clear. There is no background that is blurred. So I hope this is helpful for everybody else. But also I hope that you can hold space for me and how many freaking packages I get on a weekly basis from my clients, AKA people like you guys. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and dive into the 10 questions that we've already received from people across the Facebook and YouTube. And like I mentioned, if you need anything else from us, the live chat is going to be your place to go. However, if you are watching the replay of this live, if you couldn't actually join us live, that's totally fine. We love you just as much. So go ahead and drop your questions in the comments. Okay. So it's going to be in the comments of this video. I will be the one to respond to them. It just obviously won't be live, but anybody who is live, they can obviously drop it in the live chat. And Azad said, hi, everybody. Hi. Nice to see you. Happy you're here. All right, let's go ahead and get right into it. So the first one, oh, you know what? I just realized I'm at the very bottom of this. There we go. Q3 Q&A. So the very first one, like I said, we'll be answering those 10 questions and we're going to have a chat at the end of it. So feel free to drop them in the live chat for me. So the first one that I have is actually one that came in 40 minutes ago this morning. So it was something that I was like, you know what? I could answer this in the Facebook group or I could answer it here with you guys. So she was actually asking for long tail keywords for the 2 pictures. I only had 1 picture on here. But basically each set is it's kind of like a bundle of a notebook, a bookmark and a memo pad holder. She was basically asking any ideas on what keywords or long tail key phrases she should use. So what I'm going to actually do is we're going to do this together, potentially, if I can get logged in. Okay, just give me 1 sec to get logged in. Beautiful. I think we're where we need to be. Yep. All right. So what I'm going to do is the first thing I personally like to do is really just figure out what other competitors are doing in my space. And I love that she is bundling a couple of things because competitors might not be doing that, which ironically would give her a competitive edge because even if her thing is more expensive or even if her maybe design is saturated, the fact that she's doing a bundle is something that hopefully will give her that competitive edge. So what I'm going to do is go into Etsy. And the first thing we're going to do is look up each of the individual things that she was selling. So the first one is notebook. We also have notebook and journals custom. As you can see, it says NA, but that is getting me with an idea that we might be able to do. And then there's also notebook cover. I don't really know if that makes sense because that's going to be more so something that obviously covers the notebook itself. Let's do memo pad as well. Oh, here we go. So again, we're only seeing a couple of monthly searches on these, but the good news is some of these are actually going to be long tail keywords or long tail key phrases. So this, for example, memo pad for to-do notes is definitely something that we could add in, or we can at least dive a little bit deeper into. So I'm going to show you how we're going to dive deeper into it in a second. And then the next one was a bookmark. I think it's one word, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. So bookmark 1202, bookmark kit. That's actually a really good one. This is obviously a little bit shorter than a long tail we would be hoping for, but bookmark kit is around 300 searches. Bookmark holder around 671 searches. So first and foremost, that is what I like to do immediately because I like to see what other people are already searching for in the space. And then what I like to do is go a little bit deeper into what EverBee can help us dive deeper into. So the second step I like to do is go right here with see more. And of course, if you guys do not have EverBee research, you're not going to be able to see this. So obviously, recommend getting EverBee research. You can even just get our hobby planned if you want, and it's going to have like I think it's like 10 searches or something, 30 maybe, something of the sort. You're going to have a certain number of searches that you can do, just like I'm doing every month, and you're going to see these guys right here. I like to call them worker bees, and then you're also going to see this, which is the see more. So when we go to see more, oh, someone said laser etching, etc. Said they actually make bookmarks. So that's fantastic. All right, so let's see. So in here, what I like to do is the see more. Hey, Cody, we're going to X out of you real fast. And in the see more location, that's going to take us to basically any and everything that EverBee is going to associate with bookmark itself, or whatever the search term is. So in this case, bookmark. So we're seeing 1202 as the search volume, but we're also seeing the competition at almost 400,000. So something that I personally like to do is go ahead and bring the competition to the top, where it's going to have the lowest amounts of competition, maybe. There we go. But then I also like to find things over here that have a good keyword score. So you can do this individually on each column if you'd like, or you can actually just start with keyword score, getting that to the highest amount instead. However, when we do this, what I want you to be very, very mindful of, because this is something that a lot of people have asked me over the almost 2 years that I've been on these live streams with you guys, is, oh my God, this has like a 1 million 1 million score, I guess. It's like kind of a weird number, but it's like, it's really, really highly ranked. So I should use this, right? Unfortunately not, simply because there are a lot of people who are going to literally put words into Etsy wrong, because that's what this is doing. This see more option is taking us to the keyword research space that is going to show us what people are actually typing into Etsy. So you're going to see a lot of stuff that is going to be spelled incorrectly, which is why the competition is green or is going to be so low. Green on competition being low means that it's good. Red and yellow on competition, or excuse me, on volume, is that the number is probably not as good and we might want to get it higher. Green on volume is good. So just keep in mind what those numbers and those kind of colors mean. So what I actually like to do is find something where the competition is a little bit more not in the red, not in the yellow, maybe in the yellow, but we also have a healthy competition versus the volume. So I basically would just skip all of these. Let me see if I can find one that I like. Again, you can see everything over here. It's people that are typing these in. This is something that the algorithm can't really get rid of, unfortunately. I like this. Okay, so this is interesting right here. So bookmark gift for book lover. So in this case, we are obviously understanding that gift for needs a space, right? But this is a really, really good example of what could be a long tail key phrase when spelled correctly. So bookmark gift for book lover. That is a very, very good long tail key phrase. And it's more than likely something that potentially is being looked up on Google as well. So I'm going to go click that button. And I'm going to come over here real fast. Let's see if you guys see what I see. Yep. Okay. So right now we're seeing that this is obviously spelled wrong, but at any time, I'm going to share this tab again. We're going to go back and forth a couple times together. At any time, you have the ability on EverBee Research to just click this little like upwards facing arrow. And that's going to allow you to look for it in Google Trends. So obviously, if we come over here, really quick. Obviously, it is spelled incorrectly, so it's not going to show up in Google Trends right now, but just wanted to show you how you could find that there. And then you could also go to places like, let me go ahead and pull it up over here. You could also go to places like Pinterest, and then we can click gift for book lover. Now that, because basically what we were doing in the Etsy space was finding things that we could possibly do to add more things to create long tail key phrases. I hope that makes sense. But we started with bookmark, right? And then we opened up the see more tab, and then we found bookmark, and then we found gift for book lover. So if we go into Pinterest, we can do the exact same thing, and we can see gift for book lovers, what we already had, gift for book lovers, birthday, boy, friend, girl, aesthetic gift ideas for book lovers. This is a really, really great list. Fun gift ideas for book lovers. So that is absolutely what I would personally do, is utilize all of the different resources that you have, even outside of EverBee research. Of course, do everything you can first and foremost inside of Etsy and EverBee research paired together, but then going even further beyond just to confirm if that is a really good trend, first of all, or a really good phrase or keyword, and then diving even deeper in what other platforms have for you. Okay. So that's what I would say. Let me go ahead and share this tab real fast. I'm not going to necessarily give her all of the keywords or long tail key phrases that she should use per se, but that is the exact steps of how I would get there. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to question 2. But if you guys have any questions about the process that I just showed, or any questions about EverBee research, how to find Google Trends, any of those things, drop them in the live chat or in the comments, and I will get to them in just a few minutes. Next up is from Jeremy and Brenda. So what they were basically asking, they're kind of saying who they are first and foremost, but they were also asking, how does everyone have their categories laid out in product analytics? So that's exactly what I was just showing a second ago. We were in the keyword research space. They're asking about product analytics. So I'm going to show you exactly what I do. So if I come over here and I go to product analytics, and let's just say for right now, we are in bookmark, as you can see. The first thing I immediately like, oh, you guys can't see this. Hold on. I just realized I was not sharing the right tab. There we go. So we are in product analytics now. And what I first like to do immediately is look at how many listings that EverBee is currently analyzing for me. So right now, EverBee is only doing 58, I believe. Yes, 58 listings. And that's because we are only looking at page 1 of the Etsy search. So what I like to do is go ahead and click EverBee database to bring me up to this number. So now we are at 520,000 listings that are associated in some way with the keyword that we are looking up, bookmark. Okay. So now we are at that many. So now what they basically were asking us was, how are we rearranging these different things? And if I'm not mistaken, I can also come over here to customize. There we go. So you can also see category is right here, and you can cut this on and off if you want. I'm going to go ahead and just have it there. And for some reason, I cannot spread out anymore, and I don't know why. Let's see if I can do this. There we go. Okay, so I had to make my page a little bit less zoomed in because I was on like 120%, I believe. But I'm going to show 2 different things. I don't know exactly which of the 2 they are asking for, but I'm going to show you guys both so that we can all see it together today. So the first thing was, let me go back over here and show you guys their question. So in what order on your product analytics data page do you have your categories lined out? So I am taking this to mean one of 2 things. The first thing that I am taking this as is, how do you actually set up each of these columns, not just the category itself. Okay. So when I think about that, what you can do is always come up to this customize little tab right here. And as you can see, it'll show the ones that you currently have toggled on, and you can always remove them at any time, and then it will add or remove it from the document or the spreadsheet, if you will, itself. So let's just say average reviews, for example, I don't need. Total reviews, let's say I don't need that either. You can see that my thing is getting smaller and smaller, so you can come in. There are so many different metrics that you can add to your list if you're a data person like me, or there are so many metrics that you can remove because maybe you don't need to see all of them. Whichever one you want to do, that's what I would do there. Then what I personally like to do, and if you've been on these, live streams with me on a weekly basis for the past almost 2 years, you also know that I like to filter everything very intentionally as well. So how would I filter things? The first thing I would do is look at product. We don't really need shop name. So let me go ahead and just remove shop name, because we just need really the product right now. So what the first thing I'm going to do when I click filter is go to the product right here. And you have the ability, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you guys can see this a little bit better. So you're going to be able to see include and exclude. So knowing that we were looking up bookmark, is there anything that we also want to have in here that we can look into a little bit deeper? So what I'm going to do is think about the fact that we were on gift for book lovers earlier. So I'm going to include anything that has gift, and then I'm going to see what happens. When I say see what happens, by the way, 520,000, 520, 325 should go down because we're only going to be including the listings that somewhere, some way show the word gift. All right, there we go. All right, so we are seeing, oh my God. Oh God. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm drinking an Element this morning in my water. And it's very, very salty. If you guys have ever heard of Element, it's like the hydration packs. Did not enjoy that first sip whatsoever. All right, so now we're seeing we went down from 520,000 to now 182,000 that are all related in some way, shape, or form to the word gift. So this might be able to give her the opportunity to filter this out even further. Maybe thinking about the next thing we want to do is, let's say her item, again, we're going back to the original question. Let's say her item as a bundle is $36. So what we want to do then is have the minimum. So we're comparing apples to apples. Let's have the minimum be at like 28 bucks. And when we do that, you can see EverBee is thinking it's getting to work again. And that 182 should come down substantially as well. Let's see what comes up. I don't want to drink this again, but I need water. But it tastes like straight salt. Sweet Lord. I do not recommend this flavor. I think it's called raspberry salt. Not a fan. All right. So now you can see we went down from 182,000 to now less than 10,000. So we are getting more apples to apples in comparison, which is going to allow her to not only see how these listings are built, which listings are doing the best, which listings have the most growth rate recently, but it's also going to allow her to click into each of the individual ones and scroll down to see if there are even more long tail keywords that we might need. All right. So that was my original thought. Let's go ahead and go back to the beginning and get rid of all of this. So that was my original thought to their original question. However, what I'm also thinking is they might be interested in just talking about the category itself. So when you have the category, let me zoom in a little bit and hopefully come over. No, I can't. Okay. All right. So when you have the category right here on the product analytics dashboard, you have the ability to, first of all, filter by just simply clicking that arrow, and then it will go alphabetically. So you can see we went accessories at the top. But EverBee is also going to have all of the different categories that are shown in Etsy through this particular search. So again, everything that was related to bookmark, all of these categories are showing up there. So another thing that our first person and our second person could potentially do is they could come in here and see what is most related to me. Probably not bags and purses, but maybe art and collectibles, maybe accessories, maybe craft supplies and tools, maybe home and living, maybe weddings also, because they could get those kind of memo pads / bookmark / notebook for their wedding, for their wife, husband, whatever. So that's another way that we can answer that question, by being able to filter out each of these things. So let's just say craft supplies and tools, for example. Under the particular keyword of bookmark, we now, with that filter, have 1,100 listings. Okay. So I hope all of that makes sense. I was kind of sort of answering two questions in one. But again, I have the comments in the live chat turned off right now. So if you guys have any questions that are coming up while we're going through this, don't forget to pop them over there and I will get to them at the end. Let's move on to number 3. Does Etsy have a daily limit on how many products we can upload to our store, or can we add as many as we want? I've gotten this question so many freaking times over the past 2 years, and it makes complete sense. Like, why wouldn't we want to know volume so that we can plan out our week, we can plan out our month, we can plan out our quarter, right? So the answer is Etsy does not have a set number of listings that you can upload every day. However, they love, which is actually going to answer another question in a second. So I'm kind of going to piggyback off of that one when we get there. But Etsy and every other platform for that matter that has an existing active algorithm likes when you are consistently active as well. So what I personally used to like to do when I was on Etsy myself, I was on Etsy for around 7 years. So what I like to do on there, and again, it can apply to every other platform. So social media, TikTok, Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is, or maybe you have a Facebook group like we do. Consistency is key. So what I don't like to do is just make a bunch of listings and then dump them and then just tell Etsy to hopefully bring you things. What they like instead is you need to be creative and consistent throughout the entire month, throughout the entire quarter, throughout the entire season, whatever it is. So, what I like to do personally, and again, like what I did is my strategy back in the day, and by back in the day, I mean like a year and a half, maybe not even a year and a half ago. A year ago is when I was kind of like doing my own thing off of Etsy. But while I was with Etsy for around 7 years, I would batch create all of the content. I would batch create all of the listings. I would batch create all of the photos, the thumbnails, the videos, whatever I needed. And I would probably do like 30 at a time. And then what I would do is, depending on how many listings you want to show up in your shop itself, I would drip them over a certain period of time. So let's just say you wanted one listing to go live per day. I would batch create 30 in one weekend, and then I would drip them once per day. So I would have one listing go live per day. So what you could do with this is one of two things. Either you could draft them in full in Etsy and then just mark them as drafts. So you don't launch them, you don't publish them. The other option, though, is you can just draft all of the stuff that is needed to then build the listing from scratch. So you're not drafting it, you're putting it elsewhere. So let's just say your title, your description, your attributes, your tags. That should be it. Those four things could be in a Google document, and then all of your photos can be downloaded to your desktop or sitting in Canva ready for you to use them. And then all you have to do is each day or each week that you upload these listings and publish them on Etsy, you're going to have all of the stuff needed to either hit publish because you already drafted it, or you have the ability to pull from all of those different places in order to publish it from there from scratch. Okay. So I hope that answers your question. But I mean, technically there is no answer. There's no right or wrong answer. You can do as many as you want technically every day. But what I don't recommend doing is what I call like pump and dump. So you will do, and I know that's like a weird term because it's usually talking about moms and babies, but that's what I call it, because you'll pump out a bunch of listings and then you'll dump them into Etsy all at one time. And instead, what we want to do is almost pump, dump, and draft if you want to, but we don't want to publish them all at one time because Etsy wants to see you consistently inside and active in their platform every week. Okay? Hope that makes sense. Moving on to numero cuatro. Is there any step-by-step tutorial on how I set up email marketing for my Etsy store via EverBee? She feels like she's missing out on sales from their customers. She owns a gift shop selling personalized jewelry for all occasions. Fantastic. First of all, that is a very, very, very good niche to get into and a very good product space to get into. So hats off to you, first of all. But the answer to your question is, first of all, we have a lot of tutorials on YouTube. So if you just go to our email marketing playlist, you're going to be able to deep dive into everything that I've built for EverBee email tutorials for yourself. But the other thing I want to quickly mention here is EverBee does not sync with Etsy to send emails to/through Etsy. So to Etsy customers through Etsy. So this is something that I've gotten actually a lot. So I wanted to make sure I cleared the air on it and I clarified it for you guys real fast, is we don't connect with Etsy in order for you to be able to send out things as people buy stuff like thank you for purchasing or add to cart. We don't do any of that with Etsy. So what you guys are responsible for is grabbing their information from Etsy in a very appropriate way, which I'll talk about in a second, so that you can then add that and import those into EverBee email so that then you can make your email marketing plan. Okay. So what I mean by the appropriate way to grab them is you do have to be in compliance with CAN spam laws. So you do have to get them to opt into your list in some way. And there also has to be the way for at any time they have the ability to unsubscribe from your list. The good news is EverBee already builds that in for you to every email. So it's one less thing that you don't have to worry about. However, the first part of it 100% is up to you. You very much so have to worry about that. What we absolutely cannot do is go into Etsy and ask people for their emails or take their emails from the sales page on Etsy or the sales confirmation page and then put that into EverBee. That is 100% illegal. And I want to make sure that you guys are very, very clear on that. So what you're going to do instead is in EverBee email, again, go through those tutorials. There are plenty of them on YouTube. But in EverBee email, you're going to create what's called an opt-in form, which is basically going to be like getting their name, getting their email, getting whatever other information you need in order to then add them into your email list. But the biggest piece of this is they are agreeing to opt in. So once you make that opt-in form on EverBee, they will then put in their information and they will then be able to be added into EverBee email so that you can start your email marketing process. So that's just something I really wanted to clear up because a lot of people have come to me and they were under the assumption before they got EverBee email that we were going to send out emails on their behalf anytime something happened in Etsy. And that is not the case. It's actually, you got to do the work up front first, and then we're going to do the work in the back end. A little caveat to this really quickly though, is if you decided to build an EverBee store and you imported your Etsy listings over from your Etsy store to your new EverBee store, we do have transactional emails within EverBee store. So I'm going to show you guys really quickly exactly what that looks like. I'm going to pull up my own EverBee store dashboard real fast. One moment. And I think I can pull it up over here now. All right, let's do this one right here. Okay, so this is a brand new account that I made yesterday with EverBee Store because I was testing some things for them. So it's going to look a little dry. But as you can see, we do order updates, subscription management, abandoned checkout. Hopefully you guys, yes, you are looking at the same thing I'm looking at. A welcome series that you can build out, abandoned cart series, etc. Let's see if there's any more over here. So subscription also gives you 8 emails in a sequence. Account and support gives you 4 emails, abandoned checkout 3 emails, etc. So I wanted to let you guys know that transactional emails are very much so a thing, but only within EverBee Store. And a quick caveat again is you would still have to get them to opt in even if you have an EverBee Store in order to start sending them these transactional emails. Okay, hope that makes sense. Let's move on to the next one. All right, so Etsy's new SEO update. This was, I think, about a little less than or a little over a month ago. They just kind of updated how they want their titles to be done, and also how they showcase the listings on the page. And also they have almost, oops, so sorry, I hit my mic. They have also kind of like what I like to call a For You page, kind of like what it used to be, or what it is, excuse me, on TikTok. So I'm actually going to show you what I mean real fast. Here we go. All right. So now Etsy has this, what I again like to call the dashboard, the homepage, whatever, being like a For You page, like what TikTok has, where if you start scrolling, it's an algorithm built specifically around what you have engaged with in the past. Etsy's kind of doing the same thing now. So they are basically pulling information at a millisecond a day. Every single time someone does something, they hover over something for too long, they're going to track that. They click on something, they favorite something, they add to cart, they purchase, whatever it is. All of these different micro actions are building up your algorithm. By your algorithm, I mean like yours, like what you're looking up on Etsy. So we also have to know that that is what's also happening for our customers as well. So if we come over here, you're going to see this right here, recommended for you. And you can see there are ads by Etsy sellers. Scroll down a little bit, you're going to see jump into your interest. And these are basically going to be 4 different categories that have been something along the lines of what you might have looked up over the past. And again, when I'm saying you, I mean also you guys, but we're talking about our customers as well. So when our customer comes into their Etsy homepage, this is what they're seeing now. Okay. Let's see if there was anything else I want to show you. Here we go. Categories you'll love to shop is another really, really good one that's going to basically be completely based around the things that they have looked up in the past. Okay. So with that said, come back over here and say, my listings that used to sell almost daily have now gone quiet. Should I rewrite titles, tags, or create new listings altogether? Okay. So what I wanted to say here is this is something that doesn't matter if there is an SEO update or not, in my opinion, but I am going to say it. I do not want you guys to adjust, and I've said this ad nauseum on this channel, but I don't want you guys to adjust anything that is currently selling. So anything that is doing well on Etsy, don't worry about those. Anything that's getting views really well, anything that's getting really good traffic, anything that's getting really good sales, that is working in some way, shape, or form. So I don't want you to just go in and make an update, because to be honest, guys, Etsy could make an SEO update tomorrow. Now that it's Q4, maybe they've done some testing. Maybe they found the winning thing that's going to make them, let's be honest, them more money in Q4. So they could make a change tomorrow. And you just made all that effort on something that was already working. And now not only did Etsy potentially change things all over again on you, but you also are now restructuring where the algorithm finds you, because you were already doing well. And now you're telling Etsy that I don't think this listing is doing well, because I'm going to go in and adjust all of it. So now I need you to go make it do well again. So you're basically putting it back into this 30, 60, 90-day potential threshold to get you seen by the right people. So if we're thinking about Q4, you're way past the threshold of people buying from you for Christmas or buying from you for the holiday season or Thanksgiving or fall or whatever it is, because now you have rethrown yourself into a search algorithm that doesn't know who you are yet, because you have taken something that was working and you have tried to fix it based on new algorithm changes. So with that said, I would say if you have any bestsellers, I would recommend 100% do not adjust them. However, if you want to, this is something that I also have probably said ad nauseum, if you want to test things against each other, I highly, highly recommend. This is something that, again, happens on every single algorithmic platform, especially if you're running ads. There are, I have, I think, 12 ads running right now for my own business, and each of the ads have at least 3 creatives each. So that's like 36 ads at any given time with my face on them. So keeping in mind, I'm doing that very intentionally. Me and my ads manager have built this out in order to test what is working, double down on what is working, and then remove any of the losers, remove any of the ones that are not driving sales, that are not driving views, that are not driving a click-through rate. So I want you guys to also see that this is something that is going to be very necessary for you as well. So let's say you have bestsellers, or let's say you have a quick idea would be, let's say you had something that had really good click-through rate, but not a good conversion rate. So when you have a high click-through rate, that means something is working. That means your SEO is more than likely where it needs to be. And it means your thumbnail is more than likely where it needs to be, because people are seeing it. And in all the crowd of all of the other listings, they're choosing yours to click on. So they click on it, they go to it, but then they fall off. Maybe they don't even favorite. Maybe they don't add to cart. Maybe they do no actions on your actual page. That is telling Etsy that it is not good enough to be purchased. So it's good enough to click through. That is working on the front end, but maybe something on the back end isn't working. So what we could potentially do is think about, what are those things that make it not work? Maybe it's the description. Maybe it's the additional photos. Maybe it's the variations you have. Whatever it is that makes the purchase actually take place. Of course, potentially pricing, potentially a discount or a sale you have going on right now. So thinking about, on each individual listing level, what is potentially working or what is potentially broken. What you could possibly do is duplicate that listing, make one change to something, whether it be SEO, whether it be your thumbnail or your photos, whether it be your description, your pricing, whatever. Make one change to something on the back end and then test each of them against each other for 30 days. I also recommend, if you have the capital, it's completely up to you, of course, but if you have the capital to be able to do what do you call them? To ads, the thing I was just talking about. Sorry. When you have the capital, if you have the capital, especially through Q4, to do ads on both of these listings, I highly recommend, because when you are actively driving traffic to these listings, through paid advertising, you're going to be getting a lot more traffic a lot faster than if you just did it from scratch, especially because we are going to be duplicating and we are going to be building a listing from scratch. And like I said, you're going to go into this algorithm now. So if you can get the algorithm to know who you are and what you're selling faster by putting money behind ad spend, that is going to be the easiest way to see what is or what is not working. Okay. Someone also, I told you I wasn't going to like necessarily answer any questions in the comments, but someone did say that they were utilizing the AI title generator, which is something that was added to the new, SEO upgrade, if you will, with Etsy with their new update. I personally don't like using AI. I love AI. I love AI with a passion. Like Charles, if you guys have been here for a while, y'all know Charles is my bestie. That is my favorite coworker, ChatGPT. However, I do not use AI for tags or AI for title generation unless we're talking about a platform like EverBee, of course. I will use that all day long because it's not AI. Well, it is sort of, but it's not building from scratch. It's building from what people are already searching. So the AI title generator is brand spanking new. This is something that's only probably been out for around 30 days to the mass public. So there's going to be a lot of kinks in it, and there's probably going to be a lot of issues because they have, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong here, so don't quote me, but I believe they merged with OpenAI, which is ChatGPT, like the parent company that owns them. So when you merge with OpenAI, you have to understand that if I'm not mistaken, OpenAI, as it relates to SEO, is around 1 to 2 years in arrears. So that might mean that the title generator is actually giving you guys things that did well a year ago and not what's necessarily happening right now. So what I would do is use the title generator 100% because it's going to be easier than starting from scratch, but then go do your due diligence to double check that all of those things that are within the title make sense for right now. That is my absolute best piece of advice I could probably give you today, because I have to do the exact same thing when I'm doing research utilizing ChatGPT, which is literally just pulling things from everywhere on the internet and providing you with one concise answer or one concise title in this case. So that is a lot of potential misinformation because it's just pulling things from multiple data resources across the world, across the internet, the World Wide Web, right? So what I like to do, no matter what I'm doing, even if I'm literally creating a script for videos that I'm making for my clients, I like to double check what was actually given to me to ensure that it is what is happening right now. Okay. Hope that makes sense. Let's move on to the next one. Only a couple more today before we jump into the live questions, okay? So does adding 1 to 10 products a day really tell Etsy's algorithm that your shop is active and give all of your listings a boost? This is asking 4 questions in one, right? Because what I'm seeing is, does adding 1 product a day tell Etsy's algorithm your shop is active? Does adding 10 tell Etsy your shop is active? Does adding 1 give your listings a boost? Does adding up to 10 give your listings a boost? So I'm actually seeing this as 4 different questions. But if we're just answering it straightforwardly, I'm going to go back to what I said a second ago. First of all, there is no guarantee whatsoever that your listings are going to get a boost just by existing. However, what I will say is, technically speaking, Etsy does give a tiny temporary, and the temporary could be like 30 minutes, by the way, guys, a tiny temporary boost to new or renewed ads or listings. So yes, we all know that. But if your listings are not set up appropriately, if your listings are not optimized to the highest extent, that 30-minute temporary boost is going to show Etsy that your listing is not good enough to ever be seen again. And then they're going to drop you down, 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 down in search. Okay. So why I like to say having a drip campaign or something of the sort that allows you to do multiple listings all the time rather than just bulk at one time and having a large amount of volume is because they need to be seeing you active. So to answer the active question, yes. To answer the giving all of your listings a boost, no, because it's only going to give listings that are brand spanking new or that are renewed a very small temporary boost. And then every other, let's say you have 1,000 listings in your store and you do 10 listings at one time. Potentially those 10 listings are going to get a temporary boost, but the other 990 listings will not. They will still be riding on the coattails of when they were published and what SEO strategy you just recently implemented with them. So just keep that in mind. Like I said, this is asking 4 different questions here, and I kind of answered one a little bit earlier as it relates to how active should I be? What volume should I be putting out in listings on a daily basis? and giving all of them a boost. Let's think about this like TikTok. I'm just going to use that as an example because I was just on it before I joined this live stream. So if we think about TikTok, it is very structured around a For You page, right? So if you go to any of your videos that might have performed well in the past, and well could be 500 views, whatever it is. If you go to the insights on each of those individual ones that performed well, you're going to scroll down to the bottom and you're going to see audience, or like who saw this video and how. And it's going to be like 90% FYP and 10% people who follow you, right? So keeping in mind that this is very, very standard for every algorithmic platform. They want you to be active in their platform because that's how they get paid, right? So like Etsy gets paid through listing fees, which means you're being active, you're putting up listing fees. They get paid through transaction and processing fees, which means you're making sales and they're getting a kickback. And they're also making money from ad spend, right? So if they're doing all of those things, who are they going to benefit? Who are they going to reward? The people who are helping them do all of those things. The people who are listing more, who are listing intentionally, who are optimizing their listings, who are putting ad spend behind their optimized listings so more people are purchasing them. Okay. So I hope that makes sense. That's a very, very roundabout way of answering that question, but it was 4 questions in one. And that is my feedback, is kind of layman's terms, Reader's Digest version. Yes, staying active, not adding 1 to 10 products a day necessarily, but staying active consistently in the shop will show Etsy that you are a more favorable Etsy seller. Does that mean that all of your listings are getting a boost? Absolutely not. Does that mean that you're even going to do well on Etsy? Absolutely not, because you have to think about the listings being optimized, your target audience being optimized, the price being right. All of those things are going to go into this. That's why this is at least 4 questions, if not 20 questions. Okay, let's move on. Can someone explain to me how to proceed with finding keywords with low competition? No matter how much I search, all of them are widely used. I have trouble understanding SEO. That totally makes sense. We went over this a little bit earlier, so I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but I highly recommend utilizing your vast amount of resources. So you can use AI to start with if you'd like, and then use Pinterest, Instagram, Google Trends, Google Keyword Planner. There are so many different resources out there that are going to help you with your SEO. And then, of course, on Etsy, going to your competitors, having the EverBee research plugin installed and seeing what they're doing based on the ones that have been performing over the past 30 to 60 days is usually what I like to do, is like that 1 to 2 month window. But if you're doing an evergreen thing, you can spread that window out to around 12 months. Okay. Moving on to the next one. If an Etsy listing gets this is the one I said I was going to be coming back to later. If an Etsy listing gets views and clicks, but no sales, is it better to re-optimize SEO or create new versions of the product with tags, titles, and descriptions and deactivate the old one? Great question. So this is, again, in itself like multiple questions. So views and clicks are 2 different metrics. So if you're getting views, but you're not getting clicks, that means something is off. And I'm going to tell you what's off. If you're getting views and clicks, but no sales, we already talked about what could be off there. So let's go to the original. The original question is, if you're getting views, and then I'm going to add my own little caveat here, but no clicks instead of but no sales. Because if you're getting views, you got like a couple other hurdles to jump through before you actually get the sale. So let's focus on if you get views, but you don't get clicks. So if you are getting views, that means that your SEO, give or take, is more than likely where it needs to be. That means also that you are more than likely in a niche that is a little bit less unsaturated, and you are you're in the right space. You're targeting the people that you want to curate for correctly. However, if they're not clicking through, there are a couple of things that are going to be off. And I'm going to share my other screen real fast so that we can look together at what those couple of things are. So let me go ahead and go up here real fast, and I'm just going to search something. Let's just say Halloween, because it's October, my favorite month of the year. All right. So if we're in Halloween, for example, and I'm just a random searcher, I don't have EverBee. I don't know how any of the SEO stuff works. I'm just a random searcher. This is exactly what I'm going to do is type in Halloween and then I'm going to scroll down, right? So what they are going to see is not this. Me and you are seeing this. They're not seeing this. What they're seeing is the thumbnail, the design. They're also potentially seeing a video. So this one shows a video. This one shows a video. This one also shows a video as well. I don't think this one does. Oh, yeah, it does. Just kidding. So all four of these have a video. They're also seeing popular now or bestseller at the top. They're also seeing now because of the new Etsy update. They're also seeing the color variations if it is applicable. So if you're selling wood decor and you only have one color, this isn't going to pop up. If you have color variations in the back end of your listing, this is now popping up. So maybe 10 is overwhelming me. Maybe I only want like a handful, so I'm going to click on this one instead. They're also seeing a very short, which granted these are ads, so bear with me, but they're seeing a very short title, but they can hover over the title to see the entire thing. And they're also seeing your star rating. So let's just scroll down to one that's not ads real fast together. So again, we are seeing this. We are potentially seeing a video if they have one. This person does not. We are seeing the colors. We are seeing a very short title. We are seeing this. And the last, probably most important thing that they're seeing is the price and the shipping. Let's see if there's anything. There we go, right here. So handmade felt ghost pumpkin. All the different things are here, but they also have free shipping as well. Okay. So that is what they are looking at. So that is what is going to, that list is what is going to benefit or potentially be a detriment to your clicks. So if you can think about what people are actually individually seeing that when they, do a search, whatever it is, ignoring all of the things that we see on EverBee, think about your ideal customer. What are they looking at first? The biggest thing is what they're looking at first. That's just how the human eyes work. And that's why Etsy made all of these different thumbnails that much bigger. I think there used to be 5 in a row, and now there are only 4 because they've made the thumbnails bigger. So are your thumbnails up to par? Do you have a video? Is your pricing or your discounted pricing in line with competitors that they're seeing literally right next to you for hundreds of pages? Do you offer free shipping? What are your variations like? What's your customer experience like? AKA, how many reviews do you have? What's your star rating, etc.? When you take a look at those things as a whole and package them into a listing, that is going to lead to clicks. And then what I said a second ago was once you have all of those things where they need to be, people are clicking in. Now it's time to think about the description for your sales, your, again, discount for your sales, your variations potentially, like, are there different options they can choose from that is not overwhelming or confusing to them because confused buyers don't buy? And then what do your photos tell them? So that's kind of the progress of if I'm not getting views, do this. If I'm not getting clicks, do that. If I'm not getting sales, do this. Okay. Hope all of that makes sense. I think we got just one more. Let's see. 2 more. All right. How many email lists can I have within the EverBee store? I have 2 different audiences. This is the very easiest question that I've answered all day because the answer is unlimited. So as long as you are in, I don't know exactly what it's called, maybe the growth plan business. I'm not sure. Whatever the plan is, I should probably know this, but whatever the name of the plan is that you are paying X number of dollars per month for, with EverBee email, you are able to have unlimited list with EverBee stores. So I actually have 2 different audiences myself. It's going to be clients that I'm working with that I'm creating content for, and then it's my students who I am teaching or who I want to teach. So that's 2 different audiences. But then what's even cooler is those 2 audiences then have multiple different opt-in forms, lead magnets, welcome sequences, whatever it is. So I have 2 audiences, but I actually have like 17 lists because each of those individual lead magnets need their own corresponding email. Okay. Hope that makes sense. All right. Maybe this one's funny. Maybe I'm missing something, but I thought you can't sell the same product multiple times on Etsy, which would make it impossible to duplicate and test. So this was kind of going back to my original thing where I was saying A/B testing is very, very important. So what I want to say here is this person, the Tofurious Gamer Bros, they are absolutely 100% correct that you cannot, nor do you want to duplicate a listing once or multiple times as is. What we want to do instead, which is actually going to lead to the A/B testing, of course, is make one. I would recommend one, absolute maximum two changes in the listing, then republish it. So you have one listing that has one certain thumbnail, then you have the next listing that is an exact replica, but with a changed thumbnail. Or you have one listing that has this SEO package. So the title, the attributes, the description, the tags, it has this SEO package. Then we have the exact duplicate with a different SEO package. Okay. So that is what we mean by duplicating. It's not duplicating and press and publish. It's duplicating, changing one thing, two things, absolute max, and then being able to see the difference. And just so you guys know, the reason why I say two max, and I actually probably say one max, but I'm just giving you guys a little bit of leeway, is because let's say you made, this listing and you made this listing as a duplicate, and then this listing had 6 things that you changed in it. So you changed the photos, you changed the price, you changed the SEO, you changed the description, you changed the attributes. I can't think of the 6 freaking thing. You change the shipping. There we go. So you change 6 different things over there. And then it starts performing off the walls. It's going so, so well for you. You guys have any idea what led to that? Absolutely not. Because you changed 6 freaking things. And one of those things or 2 of those things popped off and you do not know what it was. So you have no idea what to replicate for future listings. Okay. Hope all of that makes sense, guys. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen now, and I'm going to get into the live chat and answer some questions that came in while we were on this live stream together. Again, if you are watching the replay of this and you enjoyed this conversation, but you got your own questions that you couldn't get live, drop them in the comments of this video and I'll be happy to respond to them myself. Also, please be mindful, we are at the 55-minute mark. So if you guys do have to hop off at 11, I totally understand. I went way fast or way longer, not faster, way longer than I imagined, but I do hope that I went in depth enough so each of these questions gave you what you needed to get through the rest of this year and beyond. So if you do have to hop up at 11, the video will be on replay. So this live stream will be on our account at all times. All you have to do is go to the YouTube channel, go to the live section. It's going to be your most recent one. All right, let's go up here. Someone said, I have a question about K-pop Demon Hunters SVG design. First of all, we're going up, right? Great song. Second of all, you are absolutely 100% not allowed to use that. So I hope that answers your question. Don't do it. All right. So the next thing is Sophie said, I still don't have the keyword stats. Does everyone else here seem to have it? Let us know. If you, because I can't show you my Etsy, obviously, but let me know in the comments if you guys are seeing keyword stats. Sophie, you might need to remove, all you have to do is go up to Google Chrome extension, or if you have Microsoft Edge extension, remove it and reinstall or uninstall it and reinstall it so that you can see those, because I am able to see on both Chrome and Microsoft Edge right now. All right, so I already answered the AI title generator question. Michael said, what if I'm getting views and near equal clicks? Okay, but views are super low. Like they'll get 12 views and 10 clicks a day. My store is 16 months old and about 40 listings, and they use Etsy SEO. I don't know what that means exactly. And they run ads. So Michael, unfortunately, you're not going to probably like what I have to say here, but this basically means one of 2 things. Either your listings are not optimized enough, or actually 3 things. Number 2, the niche that you're in is too potentially not, I don't think anything's ever too oversaturated. Just hear me when I say that, but you might be in an oversaturated niche and not providing high enough value to distinguish yourself from the saturation. That's number 2. Number 3, I had it and now I have lost it. One moment, please. Number 3 is you might not be niched down enough. So maybe you have 140 listings, but it's 140 different people that you're speaking to. That is going to confuse the crap out of Etsy, and they won't know how to send you out to the right people. So the first thing I would do is I really, really want you to look at each individual listing that you have. And then this is for everybody as well, not just Michael. I want you to look at every single listing that you have, or the ones that you believe should be performing. You don't have to look at all 140 of them, but look at the ones that you believe should be performing. Then what I want you to do is go into, you can have it up on one screen over here and then have something else on the other. Then go into your Etsy competitors. And I want you to see If you line up with them, does your pricing line up with them? Does your SEO package? Because if you have EverBee, you're able to see their full SEO package. So does your SEO packaging line up with them? Is your thumbnail good enough? Because like we mentioned, if we're getting low views in the first place, it's because we're probably not being presented to the right audience in the first place, and or Etsy is confused in the first place. So we're not going to be able to be viewed and or clicked. So I highly recommend doing that and really getting really, really real with yourself, getting really raw and vulnerable and being like, if you were a brand new person and you weren't someone who loved the designs that you make and love all the hard work that you put into the listings, and you're just a random person searching on Etsy, do your listings line up with the competition? If the answer is no, fix what is not lining up. If the answer is yes, then you got to go one step higher because you're a brand new store that's not getting a lot of sales. Even though you're 16 months old, to the naked eye of a customer, you're brand new because you're not getting sales right now. So what can you do to elevate? So if you are in line with your competitors, what can you do to go that much higher? Okay. Yes, someone said, will this be available by replay? Yes, it will. Okay, cool. So that is all we have today. I'm so glad I actually made it at the exact hour mark. If anything else does come up, guys, if you have to rewatch this and you have another question, it is me responding to every single one of those comments here on YouTube. So feel free to drop those in the comments of this video. Go find us on Facebook. Make sure that you join that Facebook community if you're not already, because like I mentioned, you guys are going to be the ones that find out first who the partner is that we are getting on a live stream with next week. So I won't see you guys next week on Thursday at 10 a.m., but I will hopefully see you guys on Friday, and I will make that announcement soon. Okay? Thanks, guys, and I will see you soon. Bye. Gonna go drink my salt water now. See ya.